I'd like to make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
We here to handle the business, not let the business handle us. That's what we are elected to do, sir. So please.
It's her fault. It's her problem, her responsibility, and she failed. She's failed every.
It's no secret that small-town politics can often be with drama, but the latest scandal surrounding Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has taken things to a whole new level. Allegations of corruption, staggering misuse of public funds, and now a federal investigation is a story that seems to have no end in sight. And if you think the allegations stow their think again, there's even talk of a new lawsuit that could see her facing charges for the theft of over $2 million. So what exactly is going on in Dolton, Illinois? And how did things get so out of control?
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township
Let's start with the most recent bombshell. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was brought in as a special investigator, just dropped a shocking report that's sending shockwaves through the community. According to her findings, Dolton's financial situation has gone from bad to worse under Henyard's leadership. In fact, the village, which once had a general fund balance of over $5 million in 2022, now finds itself with a deficit of over $3 million as of 2024. That's not just a small dip, that's a financial free fall, and taxpayers are demanding to know where their money has gone. Deep debt. And that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of Mayor Tiffany Henyard. The details of the spending are jaw-dropping. Henyard, who's been in office since 2021, has been accused of using village credit cards to make extravagant purchases. And we're not talking about office supplies. One of the most outrageous revelations involves a single day of shopping on Amazon in January 2023, where over $40,000 was spent. That's right, $40,000 on Amazon in one day. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There were other purchases made at places like Wayfair, Walgreens, and Target, all on the taxpayer's dime. One trustee, clearly fed up, called it a slap in the face to everyone in the community who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is, what's even more outrageous is how little oversight there seems to have been regarding these purchases. According to Lightfoot's investigation, receipts for many of these transactions were either incomplete or missing altogether. In fact, across the 6 village credit cards, there was hardly any documentation to justify the purchases. This lack of transparency raises serious questions about how Henyard was able to get away with such reckless spending for so long, and more importantly, who else might have been complicit in allowing this to happen. It appears that the village's financial controls were either lax or completely ignored, making it easy for funds to be siphoned off without anyone sounding the alarm. So that's one of the reasons I vote no. When we go through our board packets, it's like some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for. And then when you ask a question, there's no answer. The spending spree didn't stop at online shopping. Lightfoot's report also revealed that Henyard had racked up thousands of dollars in restaurant bills, often at upscale venues where lavish dinners were held. In some cases, these meals were justified as meetings or business discussions, but insiders say that little to no actual government business was conducted. Instead, Henyard allegedly used these gatherings to curry favor with political allies and reward her inner circle. One former staffer even went on record to say that these dinners were more about socializing than solving the village's problems. If that's true, then it's clear that Henyard was more interested in boosting her own status than addressing the real issues facing Dolton residents. I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards, as you heard me speak today, and my board mean about I do not handle that. Some of those charges are for you, though. No, sir. And speaking of status, let's talk about the billboards all over Dolton. You can't miss the massive posters bearing Henyard face with slogans like the People's Choice and Fighting for You. While it's not uncommon for politicians to promote themselves, what's raised eyebrows is the sheer number and scale of these billboards. Critics argue that Henyard is using taxpayer money to essentially run a permanent campaign, all while the village's financial situation deteriorates. Some even compare this to tactics used by authoritarian leaders who who plaster their image everywhere to remind people who's in charge. It's a level of self-promotion that feels more appropriate for a dictator than a small-town mayor. I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there will be anything. It just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on. As if these optics weren't bad enough, Henyard's critics have pointed out that she seems to be living a life of luxury while the village struggles to pay its bills in addition to her high-end travel and dining habits. It's been reported that she frequently travels with a personal stylist and makeup artist, a far cry from the humble, hardworking image she tries to project in public appearances. While there's no official confirmation of how these services are being paid for, many residents suspect that they're being funded with public money, adding yet another layer to the growing scandal. If true, this would further cement the idea that Henyard has been using her office not to serve the people but to enrich herself. Were you? It's not paid by them. Did you fly first class to Las Vegas? Any other questions? But where things get even more bizarre is in Henyard's response to all of this. She's not exactly offering apologies or explanations. Instead, she's doubling down, claiming that she's being unfairly attacked for being a black woman in power. During a heated public meeting, she lashed out at her critics, saying, "You all should be ashamed of yourselves because you all are black, you all are black. And you all sitting up here beating and attacking a black woman that's in power." While some might say she's playing the race card to deflect from the real issues, others believe she's trying to shift the focus away from the mounting evidence against her. And it's not just about the credit card spending. Laura Lytle also uncovered that Henyard has been using public funds to finance luxury trips, staying at high-end hotels, and flying first class, again, all paid for by the taxpayers. From New York to Atlanta, the receipts are piling up, with one trip alone costing over $9,000 at the Four Seasons Hotel. Critics are calling her out for living large while sinks deeper into debt. How is it possible that in a town where the median income is just $24,000 a year, the mayor is dropping thousands on first-class travel and five-star accommodations? The optics are terrible, and the outrage is palpable. One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her. And that's what they're doing here. But this isn't just about financial mismanagement. Penn's reign as mayor has been marked by accusations of bullying and retaliation against her political enemies. There are reports that she shut down local businesses that refuse to contribute to her campaign, using her power to punish those who don't fall in line. One business owner even claimed that his trucking company was targeted after he stopped making donations to her political fund. He described the situation where village officials fabricated claims against him, ultimately leading to his business being shut down. "What is she, Nino Brown?" he asked, referencing the notorious gangster from the movie New Jack City. And in a bizarre twist, Henyard reportedly showed up to a village meeting dressed like the very same character, complete with a DJ playing "Better Have My Money" as she made her entrance. It's almost too wild to believe, but multiple sources have confirmed the spectacle. Henyard fired her chief of police late last year without any approval from the village board. So now Robert Collins has filed a lawsuit against the village. As if that weren't enough, Henyard has also been accused of using the village's police force as her personal security detail. And we're not just talking about a couple of officers here and there. It's been reported that she has up to 6 officers assigned to her at any given time, racking up hundreds of hours in overtime. In one case, an officer with a base salary of just over $70,000 ended up earning over $100,000 in overtime alone. Critics say that while residents are facing real safety concerns, with 4 people recently shot in a violent incident, Henyard has been more concerned with protecting herself and ensuring the safety of the community. His employment, I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate, right? And then there's the issue of the missing checks. In her investigation, Lightfoot uncovered that over $6 million in checks had been printed and approved, but were never sent out to pay vendors. That's $6 million worth of services and goods that the village is on the hook for, yet the vendors have seen nothing. The financial mismanagement is so staggering that federal investigators have reportedly stepped in, with an FBI probe now underway. But what does Henyard have to say about all of this? Well, She's not exactly staying quiet. In fact, she's taken to social media, going live on Facebook for over an hour in a rambling tirade where she promised to seek the arrests of her opponents. "I will be seeking arrests for individuals involved," she said, though she didn't specify what crimes they'd allegedly committed. It's a bold move, especially given that she herself is facing mounting legal battles, including multiple lawsuits from village trustees who accuse her of forging checks and withholding financial records. It seems like every time someone tries to hold her accountable, she fires back with even more aggressive tactics. It's a power grab. That's it, power my money grab. And as if things couldn't get any worse, Henyard is now facing eviction from her own home. Yes, you heard that right. The mayor of Dolton, who earns nearly $300,000 a year from her two positions as mayor and Thorn Township supervisor, hasn't been paying her rent. Her Lomor claims that Henyard and her boyfriend, who also works for the township, haven't paid rent since August, and have even changed the locks to keep her out of the property. The landlord has filed an eviction lawsuit, and sheriffs have been trying unsuccessfully so far to serve the papers. So now I have to pay a special process service in order to get them served, which is more fees for me. It's hard to imagine how Henyard plans to weather this storm with federal suppers already issued and the village's finances in shambles. It seems like only a matter of time before the full extent of her actions comes to light. And yet she remains defiant. In a recent announcement, she declared that she would be running for re-election despite all of the controversies swirling around her. "I am running for re-election for mayor of Dolton," she said on Facebook, adding that residents would give her their overwhelming support because they know the truth. Whether that's true remains to be seen. But it's clear that Henyard is not going down without a fight. As we wait for the next chapter in this ongoing saga, one can't help but wonder, how did things get so out of control? Was it simply greed that led Henyard down this path, or was it the power that went to her head? And more importantly, what will it take to restore trust in Dolton's government? With the FBI investigation still underway and more lawsuits on the horizon, this story is far from over. Will Henyard face the consequences of her actions? Or will she find a way to slip through the cracks once again? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is Tiffany Henyard the most corrupt mayor in America? Or is she being unfairly targeted by her political enemies? And what do you think should happen next? Should she step down or fight to clear her name? We'd love to hear your thoughts.